Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. The conversation continues, and now we focus on the Ministry of Trade and Industry and their launch of Export Booster Initiative. Joining us in studio, we have Neville Alexander, Acting Assistant Director of Trade Promotion and Development and the Trade Directorate. Good morning, Neville.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's get straight into the conversation. What exactly is the EBI, the Export Booster Initiative?
Right, so the EBI, it's a program of projects and initiatives that the Ministry of Trade and Industry, in collaboration with exporTT, is executing. So the EBI seeks to really support our manufacturers and to help those businesses really get their foot out into exporting in a more robust way. So we provide support through various projects to help companies take their products and get it into markets overseas.
Okay, and does the type of product determine whether or not they can be eligible for the Export Booster Initiative?
Right, so the EBI is pretty broad, and each individual initiative focuses on specific sectors, given and the type of support that would be available to it. So I think it's pretty safe to say that no matter what you produce, you would find some level of support under one of the initiatives based on what you're trying to do.
What would you say are some of the main benefits of the EBI?
Right, so the main benefit really is if, as a manufacturer, you have a product and you need to get it out to a wider market, and you may need a little support to get you over the hump in certain areas. So what the EBI would do is provide that support. So suppose you were a manufacturer and you're doing well locally, and you're now thinking about, perhaps I can go overseas, but I'm not quite sure how and what to do that. So the EBI could come in and provide that support to give you training in developing your export plan, do some market research, market intelligence to understand your customers overseas. We can do that for you. Or perhaps you do some exporting now, but it's not quite what what you want to do. You want to do it a little bit more. So for those exporting companies, to help them do a little bit more, we have initiatives for that as well. One of these areas of support is in the certification and standards and compliance. So under the ICF, which we call the International Certification Fund, you may be, as a company, looking to export to a particular market, but there's a requirement that you be certified to be able to supply that market. What the ICF does is provide support to you to get the certification required so that you are able to cross all the hurdles to get into that market. So you may also need to develop your product labeling or your packaging a little bit more to appeal to a certain market. Consumers there might have a certain preference. So we provide support under a program called the Product Testing and Labeling Support, where we would help you get your product designed and labeled in such a way that you could access market and reach customers overseas.
Okay, so for clarification, support is provided for export-ready firms and firms that are not ready to export. Is that correct?
Right. So yes. So and we also look at firms that are exporting as well. So you may be in a market and you have satisfied all the requirements and so on in terms of certification and all of that. But you just need that little extra to penetrate certain markets. And so we have support for those companies. We call it in-market support. So what that is so you're in a market, Barbados, USA, and you need to understand who are the players. You need to speak to what are the laws and regulations in that market you need to overcome. We would help you get the support you require to overcome those issues. You may also need to advertise a little bit more and promote your product. We have establish some commercial offices in certain key markets. So these are resources that we have on the ground that could assist companies wishing to expand and do well and do better in that market. They could do some hand holding for you, some B2Bs for you, to make some connections, explain the laws of the land for you. We can get that support as well.
Okay, excellent. Now, you would have mentioned, of course, just as an example, the USA and the Caribbean region as well. Does this extend to throughout the world for international exports, or is it exclusive to certain regions at this point in time?
No, it's open to anywhere. So we have strategic key markets that we focus on, obviously. This is based on our trade complementarity and based on the interests of our businesses and the manufacturers. They would have specific markets, but the support is not limited to those. We have had initiatives in Latin America, North America, Caribbean, and as far as Europe as well. We also eyeing the African and the Asian markets. And what we're planning to do there we're looking to establish some diplomatic commercial offices in the African continent and in China as well. So with those resources there, we will be able to provide support and cover almost the entire world in that regard.
And transformational. This is wonderful to hear. Neville, what are some of the programs or projects that are offered to local manufacturers under the EBI?
Right. So I mentioned a few of them. So let's say you are interested in getting information, because information is key to understanding your customers and markets. We have a market research facility where we would do some investigations for you with expert advice and support to understand some of your customer needs, understand some of the local laws, understand what are the trends for your particular product. And we share that information with our manufacturing community so that they can understand as well. We also provide support for trade missions, right? This is to help take customers, not customers, sorry, but manufacturers to customers in markets. So we would help cover some of the costs for attendance, as well as for carrying some of your products for shows and samples, and more importantly, match you with potential business partners. Another thing that I didn't mention before is the Export Accelerator Initiative. Now, what this does is really help those companies that are interested in exporting but not quite sure what is required. So once you join into this program, we would give you coaching and training. We would match you with a mentor, so an experienced exporting company or resource, and they would help take you through from the ABCs as to how do you ready yourself to export properly into the market. So once you graduate from a program like that, you will be better equipped now to take yourself overseas and grow your business.
Some wonderful preparation there, which of course is necessary to see the success throughout the region and the world. Let's touch very briefly on some of the success stories of the EBI. Could you share one with us? Right.
So far we have had hundreds of companies that have passed through the different programs under the EBI. For the certification initiative, where we provide supporting and obtaining international standard certification, at least 15 companies have benefited from that. One company was able to get a certain standard met that would have allowed them to export to the region for the first time. Prior to that, they were not able to, but with the support, which covered a lot of the costs involved, they were now able to really experience some growth in the business. So now they are selling their pasta products and so on to the Caribbean and North America as well. The recent trade mission that we supported to the Bahamas, we had several companies that were able to export for the first time.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us, Neville, and looking forward to seeing more success out of this program.
Certainly.
Neville Alexander, the Assistant Director of Trade Promotion Development at the Trade Directorate, here with us this morning to speak about the EBI, the Export Booster Initiative. For more information, you can go to www.tradeind.gov.tt and check them out on all social media platforms. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this break.